What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Make your next thing a big one. Today on the program, Cas Weinbren. He's a keyboardist. He's a producer. And, I've already recorded it. So coming up, you're going to be hearing a few musical bites as well. It's going to be quite a treat, quite a different show than your usual What Makes You Famous. Yeah, I'm kind of stoked for you to hear it. This week's shows on Friday night, I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. My usual Friday night gig, my one public show, video dance party, karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. And they got a full bar, kitchen's open, pool tables, pool tournament. Try to make some money playing pool while you're waiting to sing on stage right next to me. You're the stars of the show. A little concert starring each and every one of you at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas. Friday night, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Cas Weinbren. He's man, I got him on Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. All right, let's Skype Cas Weinbren now.
All good.
All right, man. It looks like you're in the workshop, man. I got Cas Weinbren, the keyboardist, the producer, the man, the soon to become legendary. What's up, man?
I already have a song. Speaking of which, called "Legendary." You might have already heard me with J. Cole and Joey Badass.
I have.
With,
I have.
Speaking of a song called "Legendary," so I've been making music. I've just been in the music industry for a minute, so
So where do we find you now, Cas Weinbren?
I'm in New York City, just in the studio, working different records.
New York City, that's a big place, man. Is that the town you grew up in? Is that the place
Born
you
and
know?
raised, man. I've been lucky that I grew up here. I love in East Village. Took advantage of all the resources from Broadway, from Lincoln Center to hip hop, because New York City is the home of Broadway, jazz, and hip hop, and they each great inspirational.
No.
And as a keyboardist and composer, it's one of the best incredible resources that I've done. And so it's like I do a lot of stuff here. And the music I make is very soulful about the city of New York, and like how many cultures combine together really equals harmony. And
I've had the pleasure of listening to some of your remixes. I think there was one or two on your YouTube page, but and I know that you have a SoundCloud, and I wasn't able to access that right away. But there, man, from what I understand, from what I can tell, you're out there. You're making moves, man. You're putting things out there. But you were born and raised in New York, and I need to get a virtual tour, because really I haven't spent a lot of time north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, right now it's like kind of shitty outside, but at some point I'll show you the rooftop. Send you guys. It's really incredible. But man, that's cool. But yeah, it's great, good for right now. But
Well,
I'm still very young.
I'm in Arkansas right now, and in Central Arkansas. I'm from Miami, where it was always 80 degrees and wonderful, and the ocean breeze came off. But then I moved to Arkansas, and for the past couple of weeks, like 2 days out of the last 2 weeks have been snow and ice. And I can't imagine being in New York City with all the snow and ice. I imagine that your front porch is snow and ice.
That's what sucks about this time of year. It's cold, and I can mostly go to Miami at this time of year, to be honest with you. But, with this COVID, performing is coming back, though. So gigs are coming back, which is really great, because I play keyboards for gigs, and that's a good thing. But, it's also, it's everything is, slowly and surely. So I've been lucky with the COVID situation. Like, I got more opportunities for my music. More people heard about me. So the more moves I'm making, the more better. And a couple artists I know are actually on tour right now. So it's like, it's just a matter of time where I get more success for what I've done and hopefully work with more people. So that's, you know, as an independent artist myself.
Well, tell me about young Cas Weinbren growing up in New York City. You know, man, with all the, I mean, what do you see, what do you hear in the movies? The big buildings. Wow, these buildings are so big, and I imagine they are big, but there's a whole lot more to New York City. I got to know what Cas Weinbren's New York City is. A little young Cas trying to make his way in the world. What are you doing growing up? What's your school? What PS number what?
It's on the microphone, thank you.
Yeah, but you don't hear me though. Hear me though. Come on, here we go. We put it down everywhere we go. So motherfucker, come on, cause it's time for some action. Yeah, but you don't hear me though. Hear me though. Come on, here we go. We put it down everywhere we go. So motherfucker, come on. Here's a toast to the fact that I'm a man and I can stand alone. And all my suits are made by hand and bone, but got the stuff that can alone. I'm in the garden smoking roses, deliver like Malone, I'm talking Moses. Flood the ocean, swap the potion, diamonds in the rough. We shine them up, make a necklace, dive up in the muff. Then wash my dick straight to breakfast, hop up in the truck. Got more flavor than some Dr. Pepper, hottest ever struck. In the streets, paved with concrete. I'm known to smoke the same shit that makes the long green. Gaze at the moon right off the shore dream. But me no worry, got a strong team. Just like my Knicks 90-14, we winning though. Go 80 layers on the baklava. That's here made by my nonna. Piece of Andy Gona. The whole school. Bill Clinton Boulevard. Since the youth, Bronson leaning on the on. Yeah, but you don't hear me though. Hear me though. Come on, here we go. We put it down everywhere we go. So motherfucker, come on.
Legendary MOP on the hook.
Yeah, but you don't hear me though. Hear me though. Come on, here we go. We put it down everywhere we go. So motherfucker, come on. Here we go. Already mentioned with the people I respect up in the rap shit. Couple of months you probably see me with an actress. Getting my ass licked while she driving, never crashed it. Smoking on that shit, fantastic. A little breezy off the coast as the sunset. Gallop on the beach on the horse cause we young vets. Limited edition, signature inscription, certificate of authenticity. I'm on the mission. Queens representative, dismember your genitals. Now you got a pussy, fucking with the general. Bass rooting, I'm mass booting, I'm pass shooting. Display fast movements, know the cash rules. Trunk rolls and I ain't talking about a bento box. Penetrate your mind, slice it with the mental locks. Fundamental sound guarded, verbal black hole, son. At the flicks, getting sucked in the back row. Yeah, but you don't hear me though. Hear me though. Come on, here we go.
Yeah, so that's that.
All right, my favorite musical is West Side Story, and you just became. I asked you a question about your childhood, and you burst into song like it's a musical. Cas Weinbren, you just made a musical out of the What Makes You Famous podcast.
That's the beauty of life. My hero is Gershwin. I want to make what Gershwin would be making in 2022, which is hip hop. Because musicals, and I just saw Black Thought's musical and explained my point. So I'm actually right in the right world. So I'm trying to combine more of the world of Broadway and hip hop together, and jazz, and Broadway and hip hop and jazz together, and they're all so inspirational. So that's what inspired my life. So that's why I made records with like actually Bronson and like other young people and Dr. Dre and Eminem. You know,
this totally just became a musical, and I'm very appreciative of it. My goodness, Cas Weinbren. If for people that are just listening to the audio version of this, check out the video version on my YouTube page. But the audio version, he wasn't. Yeah, he was playing along with something that was pre-produced, so you get a little live show along with pre-production. You know, with stuff that's already been produced. But man, I want to go back to the question that I already had at hand. Man, you took me way off, and I loved it. But you know, where did you start, man? What started it all, Cas Weinbren?
So it turns out my great grandfather played with Tchaikovsky in Eastern Europe in 1918. Weinbren's Orchestra.
Wow.
So that's what it really turns out. They're signed to EMI and played like he played. Tchaikovsky is really my favorite. Speaking of musicals, Tchaikovsky is really like.
Well, he has to be because he
Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, classical music, and the classical music equals Broadway because they were all inspired by what came before them. Yeah. And now it's like I make my own version of a musical and trying to get more people opportunities. I would love to play you. My records. I do a lot of things. I do pop. I do R&B. I do hip hop. I've worked with celebrities like early on. Like that's early Action Bronson and MOP and make classic hip hop. So it's like.
Well, I like the fact that there's no limits to your creativity. You know, I was thinking about Hank Williams, not Hank Williams Jr., but Hank Williams Sr. And when he was asked, what genre, there were no genres back then. Good music is just good music. You know what's
funny? Hank Williams Sr., I have actually a collaboration with Stephen Wrench, who also has incredible, he's a legend. He's worked with Toto and Leonard Skinner, and I started a new collaboration with him. And we have some really, the beauty of music is its soul. That's what the whole entire thing. So it's like the soul that brings people together. And I think that's what the world really needs more. Not politics, but more collaboration for the better. Music is love. Music is God healing the world. Music is God's language. Remember, Jesus himself was a songwriter.
I know he attended weddings. Tell me about the songs. And I remember David, leaped and danced and sang, but I don't remember Jesus writing a song. Tell me about what your experience is.
The Psalms.
Well, the Psalms are a lot of Solomon and a lot of David. Yeah.
I also work with the church group as well, so I'm getting more interested into why do I make music? The purpose of why, because I've done it all. So speaking of musical, I want to combine my loves of all the worlds that I've been able to do, from gospel to Latin, to jazz, to Broadway, to country, hip-hop, to R&B, to pop music, to all styles, world, pop music, hip-hop, all of them together. And I want to hear more music that takes all the music around the world together. So, that's the beauty of pop music, because it's like it takes a little bit of everything and hip-hop. And new music combines, and Broadway creates a roof, a story tells a story, and stories are so important, and there has to be more collaboration in general between screenwriters, the movie industry, and the music industry, I believe. And there's such an opportunity, but there has to be more collaborations. Like directors and songwriters and producers really have to start collaborating more so, and it's so easy now via social media, so.
Oh yeah, I talk to people all over the world, and sometimes they don't even know the guitarist that they're playing with, the drummer that they're playing with. They're laying down tracks in different parts of the world, and they've never met each other. And it all comes together with a producer.
My stuff on Instagram that did like 200,000 last year.
That's fantastic. You've already been through it, where you started with Tchaikovsky and then my personal favorite, Beethoven. That's where it all started. The notes were laid out, and the people, the young kids were screaming. Beethoven, play the ninth. Could you imagine? He was scolded by the older people that he was corrupting the minds of the youth. And that's always been a thing. When something new comes out, the youth the old people want to protect the youth. So when I'm growing up in the 80s and hip hop starts and in the rap starts, where they were stealing, well, I have to say, quote unquote, stealing the music from the past and then laying beats.
Sampled all the guys in the 60s. So it's like it was just a reverse when the guys in the 50s sampled all the guys without giving credit, and then in the 80s all the guys, the hip-hop guys, sampled all the other guys. And now there's more transparency and because that's modern music is definitely defined by basing it off the past. And that's the beauty of hip-hop, is that it's a tribute to the past. It's stories. That's the beauty of the hip hop and the story. When you hear in Pac's language, when you hear in Biggie Smalls, when you hear in the beauty of the soul music. Because remember, I'm approaching this music from all these different angles. So I love every single thing for its own beauty. And I grew up on it. And hip hop, you can't ignore its power. And for me, it's part of my career. The billion streams I've done in the industry, it's like, it's like just crazy.
Well, me as a person who's not a musician, I play music for the people. I play the music of other people. That's my job, is to introduce it at the club, introduce it at the radio station, introduce it at the party. But for somebody like that, I still know that there's only a certain amount of notes, and they only fit together a certain amount of ways. And there's only a certain amount of chords. You can only play them a certain amount of ways. So tell me about, did you learn music growing up? Because I see you're a great keyboardist.
Were you on to ask me about growing up?
Yeah.
So I went to music school when I was very young, when I was 5 years old. So my father is a failed musician, but he's a successful artist. But we never collaborated. But so he got me into music at 5 years old, and I was 14 years old. I was prodigy. Went to Manhattan School of Music. So I tried to learn a little bit of jazz, a little bit of hip hop. I've been in the music industry since like 5, and by 10 years old, I was either music and I focused on that. I went to the same school as other very successful people in New York. It was really incredible. I'm Manhattan School of Music, so I was being able to get my real good experience at the best there was. It was there at Juilliard, but Manhattan School of Music. Then I went to college for musicology. I purchased college. I studied a lot of jazz and jazz guys, but I was more interested in combining them all together. So I got more introduced to like African music and salsa and other music colleges, like Eastern Europe music, where my family ironically played. So and I combined them all together. But now I live in New York, so it's like you're influenced by everything around you. So it's like the hip hop is just the core of this city, right? This is what the youth wants in New York. It's part of it. You can't, growing up here, you can't ignore my parents both moved to New York for a reason.
No, it's amazing that you've used the geography that you were blessed with. You started in New York, and that's where people want to end up when they want to do certain kinds of artistic, they want to find other people. There's 7 million people in New York. You're going to find your tribe. You're going to find some people to collaborate with. They're all, looking to find their niche in the world. And with 7 million people, I'm watching Crocodile Dundee, and he came over from Australia, and he goes into New York, goes, 7 million people. They must be the friendliest people in the whole world. Well, some of them, but then you see some of these shows and New Yorkers don't want to talk to each other. Don't mess with me. Are you there's a song by Boz Luhrmann where he says move to California. He says move to California and leave before it makes you too soft, and then move to New York but leave before it makes you too hard. Have you become hard, or you seem like a sweet, personable person?
I have a lot York, and it's like I'm building relationships in California right now, but it's like I go where the opportunities are, and I eventually want to get to California at some point, but I have relationships in New York, and I have love in New York. My family's here. So I do want to leave, but I make this city work for me. I have new opportunities, I have relationships, I have label down here, I work at a record store, I'm building relationships in Nashville. Nowadays with the internet, it doesn't really matter where you live. I just live in New York, and this is where I'm from, because I love all the energy together. I've loved being part of the best of Broadway, of being able to go to the best of Brooklyn, and getting love here. I go to random showcases, getting gigs now because everything opened up, so I got like 5 gigs. And I was like, okay, good, the more exposure is better for my brand. And it's like, doing a lot of things now since everything opened up and getting more gigs. And, I have an album coming out that kind of combines all of these things together. So got some singles I'd love to play, rather than thinking about everybody together. I'd love to play you some songs.
Well, it doesn't sound so good on a podcast. People can always go and find your name and I'll definitely put all the links to your.
These songs aren't released yet, but you'll get a taste of them. I'm trying to get but they're coming out soon. It's my next album, so you just get a quick taste of it.
Well, like I said, it won't sound so good on a podcast, but people will get the idea. But why would you leave the Mecca?
inside, get in my speed, I need your fatal. Back on the wall, I'm a boss, I'm a digging it dog. I'm the man, I just came here to dance. 100 grand, couple bands, if she wants in advance. You know the plan, do the sub, come and give me a tan. We on the sand, ain't no chance, you ain't gon' give me a dance. Come on, let's go.
Negativo por acá. Todo se me seca. Mueve lo que te dio tu mamá. Eso dame más. Dale, papi chulo, mamacita, nosotros vamos a bailar, yeah, vamos a bailar, yeah. Papi chulo, mamacita, nosotros vamos a bailar, yeah, vamos a bailar, yeah.
This for the real now, this for the millions. We was drowning in tears, yeah, here's what it is. This for the trail with the spokes on their wheels, like Cindy Grill. Memory lane, I remember the pain. Green brain, switching lanes, no more flipping cocaine. Look at my dame, she on flame, tripping like rain. Look at your chain, this little thing, you ain't noticed the frames. Mama kept saying, boy, stop playing, make 'em remember your name. Get on the plane, once it's gone, you won't see it again. This is the game, click, click, bang. I do not entertain, we grown and saved, doesn't change. I just stayed in my lane, ain't got a lane. I was playing, I've been hogging all lanes. Come on, let's go.
Nada negativo por acá. Todo se me seca. Mueve lo que te dio tu mamá. Eso dame más. Dale, papi chulo, mamacita, todos juntos vamos a bailar, yeah, vamos a bailar, yeah. Papi chulo, mamacita, todos juntos vamos a bailar, yeah, vamos a bailar, yeah.
Huepa,
Yes,
estamos
that's
en esta emisora radial ahora mismo con la música. Huepa, goza la buena música en What Makes You Famous. You took me back to my Latin roots, bro.
You see, I love the cultures. You think about this. You see, I think about styles and cultures. What if every single culture together represented like a rainbow or represented a scale on a musical instrument? Like instead of keys, there's only 12 keys and 12 major and 12 minor chords, but there's infinite possibilities. And it's on 12 times 12 equals 144. It's infinite opportunities.
I don't know how you do it, but I mean, you reminded me of my man that also lives in. That is killing me, man.
This is how you practice. I mean, jazz, you can learn so much. I got into it all with classical, moved on to classical, to Baroque when I was 10 years old, with learning about. I think that's where the foundation is. And combining that with the hardness of hip-hop and R&B and soul music, Gershwin and Broadway together in songs. Because the best songs, and it's like, I have this great quote that changed my whole entire life that I'm realizing right now in my life. If you write a song, you can write a screenplay. Write a screenplay, you can write a movie.
Have you done all of those things?
Instead of thinking of for sync, sync is a very big discussion in the music industry.
Yes.
But has to be more dialogue between filmmakers and artists, just for opportunities.
No, before you go any further, tell people what sync is for the people that are listening, for the new artists.
In sync world, the best. Published. All right. Here's the thing about streaming success. I've been lucky to have like 46 million streams, but it's been lucky, and it's been a really collaborations off the classic hip hop that you heard with like Action Bronson and Joey Bada. Like one song to 35 million streams. So that's, there's so I'm still, it's incredible, but it's at the same time, you have to be aware of how you get like any royalties from everything. You know, whoever wants to use your name, whoever. I think there's just gonna be more dialogue. So with sync deals, you know, when another TV show uses your beat, you get paid a little more than you do for streaming. But there's still, you know, I just think there should be more direct dialogue between artists. But the more you get yourself out there for doing shows and getting your brand out there, that's the most important thing, because that's when people come actually to you or your brand. But having a song really helps you yourself. So I really inspire people who get to get into other industries as well as make music, because you really make music for yourself. You don't do it for competition. Mm-hmm. But even though there are opportunities regarding sync deals, and you can go to these different websites that I use and see what they're actually looking for in the marketplace and try and challenge yourself to provide it all. Like I've done everything from film scoring like to Broadway. You know, you see my chops. So it's like jazz, classical music, you know, kind of similar to Elton John in a sense. I don't know if you saw his movie, but it's kind of similar. How he, you know, I was similar growing up, but about his age. I was very similar, except that I'm not Elton John. I'm like this New York City hip hop person, but
no, but I think about sync, and I'm glad that you told a little bit about what sync is. But how does sync differentiate itself from writing a soundtrack or even jingles for a commercial? Well, you know, sync, is that full songs that people use in their projects, you know, in their TV shows and movies and other things? You know, if you license your song to them, you get a residual. Is it a whole song or is it a piece of the song? What is it that you need to help with sync?
I mean, you know, it depends on. I mean, I think any partnership, regardless of like, I mean, I did a McDonald deal where they send me some song, a commercial for the score. So I mean, that was cool. Couple of things, you know.
So you're in it. You're
actually, if NBC and America's Got Talent, them whoever see your show and you want to show me love, I'll show you love. So it's like, I'm always looking like, I mean, if anybody wants to use my music, I appreciate it, you know? So it's like, or even listen to my music. But I mean, at the same time, I'm trying to utilize my success to help me actually, you know, give me more credit for my own brand and my artists that I work with. I work with 20 artists. I have a label. So, I mean, I have single deals with different artists that I could play. So that was one person. This is another girl, 20 artists.
But Cas Weinbren, before you start playing another song, I want to know about the, you know, the commercials. Because back in the 80s and 90s, when I was first learning about stuff, people could make a national commercial and go buy a house using the residuals off of that. These days, you can't do that. And you're talking about streaming. You know, that's not the same as buying an album. If somebody streams you 40 million times, what is that, $12? I mean, I know I'm being funny, but
opportunity, because there is an opportunity where you have to look at it from both ends. Mm-hmm. You have to look about the opportunity, not the valuation. Okay. You know, what is it better to be worth, you know? So it's like when you think about the opportunity, you think about better than the valuation. So, I mean, realistically, it's you make music for God, and you make music for spirituality for yourself, and you make music to heal the world, because music is God's gift. The value should be spiritual, to be honest. Like, and they're the transparency of this world and the so-called capitalism, and when you really how people should be honest with each other. And the music business has been notorious because you can get away until more data protection, thanks to like technology like Muso.ai and streaming protection, which is giving us more valuation for this total streams of networks. That's why these catalogs are being bought right now, because streaming is actually adding more to what the download. And remember, this is the opposite of the download. During the 90s, when Napster actually, it's made it possible because it was the birth of the internet. Right. Now, companies figured out the birth of computers.
Well, tell more about these AIs or what was it you were talking about?
AI.
Tell more about that. What do you know?
Well, it's called evaluation for the streams. It's like, I think you have to look at it that way. That's why I tell musicians, get as many credits as you can.
So is that something you have to sign up for? Is there an app for that?
Yeah, definitely have to sign up. But it's great. It shows the credits for all these different people within the industry. And I think, and even from like podcast standpoint, you're in the podcast world, everything, the more data that you're able to protect yourself, So I think that's what it really comes down to.
All the times I've talked to different artists, and none of them have explained, have even talked about any kind of protection that you can get for streaming services. This is the first I'm hearing of it. You're teaching me new things. This is a learning podcast.
I'm trying more evaluation to create jobs out of it. So if he really wants to build back better, he might want to look at the way that publishers treat songwriters and the value of songwriting as an asset for every country, not just America, just for every single community, because music's really supposed to represent the community and family of the person who's dedicated their life to a mastery of the language.
Well, now you're talking about the music industry as a whole. I mean, it's always been the record producers trying to make the most amount of money off the backs of all the singers, the artists, the people that are making the music,
or the keyboardist,
right? Or the keyboardist. That's right. That darn keyboardist isn't going to make anything, because that front man is going to make 50% of the money that comes to the band, and that poor keyboardist is probably going to make 5%.
Artists, the talent themselves, like, I'm going to make if people want to do a deal, that's why I've been having success with people. It's actually better for them for what I've done. I didn't piss anybody off, and they gave me more, actually. So instead of 46 million, I had to give you 1 billion streams. So
yeah, I have a keyboard sitting in the other room.
Okay,
I have a keyboard in the other room. I cannot even play.
Well, you practice hand-ins, learning the 12 notes, and accompanying yourself on different songs. I used to play with the radio before I wrote my songs. I played cover bands. I still play in cover bands recently for different gigs, man, as well. So.
Well, tell me about that. I mean, after you got out of the many years of schooling, you grew up. Did you go to college? Did you what did you want to be when you grew up? Was it always music, or did you have the fallback plan that the parents usually want you to have?
Yeah, I had other industries that I was interested in, programming, and software, in real estate, real estate for software, software for real estate companies. I did that for a little while. And but now back to the music, and then it was like after one company like really wasted other people. It was really bad, the chemistry way that they did business, really, because I'm a respectful person, so I don't like non-transparency. But in the construction world, what the valuation of everything is. So I mean, instead of thinking about a production of just music, I also thought about production, and that's what I'm thinking of. Like, what's the next step to get my music out there? So I have my new next album with 20 different artists. And we started off this conversation by talking about musical. So it's kind of musical, very musical inspired. I mean, I wish to be Gershwin one day, and Gershwin's influence on me, right, and West Side Story, which inspired West Side Story, which inspired Bernstein, which inspired, that's the beauty of modern R&B, which is, I feel like that's the world that we're living in.
Well, one of the tools
will inspire people to love all the genres together and just get better at every single one, and challenge themselves to a little bit of everything from country to hip hop.
Well, one of the tools you got growing up and schooling is you learning about computers, and it seems like that computer knowledge translated into you making music. I mean, what kind of software are you using? Is it Fruity Loops? Is it FL Studio? Is it what is it that you're putting together? What is Logic? Well, hey, I know they're not a sponsor, but tell me about how you learned how to use Logic and how to make music, and is it all beats that they give you?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you want, I can show you. All right, so today, actually, I'm already on prompt session. My friend sent me a record to produce. He's a really, really talented guy, so he wants me to remix it. So I do a couple different ways. Some people still give me ideas, and I remix that, play keyboards on different people's beats, and do that way. Some people ask me to replay samples. Some people ask me to mix something. I'm a producer as well. So I mean, keyboard producer.
Well, I want you to give credit where credit is due, and give shout outs to people. I mean, if somebody's talented, you give them a shout out.
Well, for sure. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, it's just, you have to, and here's the thing. Like, I live by quality, quantity, consistency, and persistence. Like, those are the best things that you really need in life, regardless if you're trying to chase success in music, or success mastery of your craft, or just being a better person, or just becoming master at something else, or finding or more success in other, whatever you do. Like, I mean, plan B's are important, plan C's are important as well, plan D's are important. And I think it's good to be able to master different things and keep on going. Like, I just love making music, and I just love the opportunity to do that. So that I would rather, I am sacrificing my own other desires, but I mean.
Well, I see that you have your studio there. You can make music on your own, but you also collaborate. And I'm appreciative of all the people that have helped me become the person I am today. Teachers and what have you, even friends and family that have helped me along the way. So I love giving credit where credit is due. And if you say somebody sent you a song, who sent that song and what is it that you're doing it to it? You said you're remixing it. Was it an R&B song and you're making it into a techno song? What I mean, I know that's one of the things that a producer does.
Yeah, well, I mean, so he just sent me the record right now. So he told me he just told me to start. But I mean, I work with a bunch of different things. So it's like, I mean, it's some people send me a sample. I do a lot of things. I mean, I can make every single kind of music, from Broadway to hip hop.
Yeah, if people are looking to collaborate with you and they want to send you their acapella
together from Broadway to hip hop. If you want to hear any styles you want to hear, country, pop, hip hop, R&B, or Broadway.
Yeah.
Speaking of Broadway.
There's no limits to Cas Weinbren. I like that. I like the fact that you do that. When they try to put all these artists into a box, especially record producers. It seems like that's the way of their thinking. If you're a country artist, you stay in country. If you're a Christian artist, you stay in Christian. Hip hop, they don't want you to come out of that box. But you don't want to be in a box. If you're independent, you could put out whatever you want. But
here's the thing. You have to think yourself as the greater good. Mm-hmm. I think singers should be also thinking about themselves as producers as much as they're producing, as much as they're like, there's opportunity for more opportunities out of it. Like, how can you be more take technology? Some of the artists do it this great. I love making music, and I am trying to get more into other visual things that I'm doing, part of my life, but I'm just also trying to see like what else am I, trying to see which doors open up for interest, So
I think about Prince, who had to change his name to get out of a record contract. I think about Taylor Swift, who had to re-record all her masters so she could have access to her own music. I mean, these are bad deals that you got to know about the business as well. But being independent, you feel like that's been the way to do it.
There's more tools nowadays to be able to put things out. But it's also about like, there's more tools nowadays to put things out and getting yourself known, but it's also about like your own investment in yourself and seeing who really wants to shout you out. So it's like, I already have records.
Yeah. 40 million streams. That's no joke.
It's like, I think in the end of the day, it's like I am getting more recognition for my stuff, but I already have records with the people who are on tour right now. I'm trying to get more opportunities to be like bigger shows for opportunities. Maybe if for an opportunity existed for the better, let's play a show with like when my guy, with Action Bronson, instead of like just talking about these records that I have with these guys, because they're playing the headlining shows, play in front of everybody, and get more placements. So,
well, like I say, with 40 million streams, you have tens of thousands of people that are already listening to your music that are potential customers.
I've been part of songs that people have listened to, that like 1 in 7 billion, like 7 people have listened to.
Yeah,
because there's a billion people in this world. Like, let's say if you have 1 billion streams now, it's like
yeah, but how do you monetize that? Because we all have to make a living.
I told you this new website called Muso.ai is collecting all the streams for all the disruptive platforms. And they're just about the transparency of these fake stocks: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Hulu, Disney, because they own the streaming. Hulu, Netflix want to create more opportunities for artists on cell phone because they own Apple and Facebook for there's more opportunities, but it has to go 1-to-1 because the stream value should be 1-to-1. That's what I'm arguing all for. Everybody pays into it, and that pays out in cryptocurrency and something that can really heal. I mean, or some concept that can heal. Remember, music is spiritual. Like, so the fight for the streams is actually for everybody. So it's not for me. Like, that's why my value went up. So it's like, it was 40 million before, now it's about 1 billion. This is for the streams. My guys are already on tour.
Yeah, every time I talk to a young person such as yourself, I find that I'm a dinosaur more and more every day. You mentioned cryptocurrency, and I have no idea how to even buy a Bitcoin.
Streams to Bitcoin is the solution. Stream value into Bitcoin.
Right.
More transparency to get more value directly from the streams and the cryptocurrency to support each other.
Yeah, like, if you're going to have...
It's spiritual. It's here to heal. So the value is actually fighting spiritual, not for myself. It's for God.
And that makes total sense. If you're going to have a virtual song, if you're going to have a streaming song, why not have a virtual currency?
But that's a beautiful point of music, to inspire technology. Remember, Apple Records inspired Apple computers, right? It wasn't for the Beatles writing their songs. If the Apple computer wouldn't be, so Steve Jobs would have been inspired by it to create these things who created the phone. who created this opportunity right now, right?
Standing
So
on the shoulders of giants, man.
I mean, Microsoft using this shit, whatever, doesn't matter. Like,
that's fantastic, man. Standing on the shoulders of giants is what we are. But you
but
know,
I mean, using success to fight for fair valuation is, from an independent standpoint, has been rare. Like, I do have some of that success to a couple different major record labels because we did deals with those guys. But I mean,
all right.
Bada
So
songs that are to generations of people. It's the relatability of the lyrics that you can learn from the success of that record, you know? And it's like, I mean, the sample itself was from Africa. I went to Africa when I was 15 years old because my family immigrated from Lithuania, and the almost killed them, but they immigrated. You know, they're a sample. They worked with Tchaikovsky, but then in 1920, the programs happened, and then in 1945, the Holocaust happened, so my family was out. So they moved to South Africa, and then a couple generations, my father worked with, like, he moved to New York, worked with Cameo, apparently. And, like, really got the Brad Miles records, and by 10 years old, Eminem came out, but it was already getting to be involved regarding, like, he liked, you know, Raekwon and them and the hip-hop guys in 94 when it came out.
Wait, you said he worked with Cameo, like High Top, Flat Top, Word Up, Cameo?
He's also an iconic artist, but he was a video artist. Cas Weinbren is his name. But
yeah,
Cas keyboard producer. So it's like, you know, but it's okay. But it doesn't matter. I mean, in the end of the day, it's like it's my name. But I mean, regardless, I mean, yes, you know. So the more value, you know, everything is been doing this for a long time. So it's just very incredible.
Well, I talk about when I talk to artists such as yourself, I talk about it's in the blood. Well, it's certainly in the blood. It's been there since Tchaikovsky, since the 1700s, I suppose, or the 1800s, you know, since the old country, and you brought it over by way of Africa. This is an amazing journey that your family has had, and all that influence came through you. I mean, you just played a Latin beat that I heard back in Miami when I was living there. You know, I'm half Cuban, so I got, you know, that flavor.
New York, where you take the concept of it's the home of Broadway, hip hop, and jazz. So you combine them, all three of them, you get pop music. So that's the music that I represent, where it's like a combination, very influenced by hip hop, but not totally hip hop. It's like, and trying to get more recognition for doing that. And really inspiring people to think outside the box, combine things together rather than, and just your heart, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's the message of music. It's the message of my music because it's pure. It's from the heart.
You're making me think of one of my your fellow New Yorkers that I know pretty well, Tito Puente Jr. He's hip hop, he's Latin beats, he's pop, he's all that, just like you. And he plays the timbales. He'll play with other people, or he'll play on his own, just like you, where you could take that keyboard and go do an open mic or go do a show on your own, you know, or you can play with others. You could be collaborate.
Sure.
And that's a fantastic skill that you have.
Yeah, but that's where the world I came from first. Remember, I'm like Elton John was kind of, so I started when I'm 10 years old, I was playing Baroque in an orchestra, like 10-year-olds in New York. And then for my 14 years old, I went to, you know, and I went to Manhattan School of Music, and I was like playing jazz. And then from jazz, then Broadway, you know, and then pop music, and then, you know, the hip hop music, musicology. And where I went to school, Purchase Conservatory Music, Drake headlined. Nobody knew who Drake was headlined. 2010, Drake headline joint. Styles P, she played for like 40 people. Like Jadakiss played for like 40, you know, headline. Saigon. So there's a lot of communication between the rise of the hip hop industry. So when I got out, I got like, yeah, I mean, people. Then I was Action Bronson, Statik Selektah, and I worked with them for like 6 years, including. So now it's like, you know, I'm trying to find success, but I mean, you know, I'm still, obviously I have to be thankful to like, you know, MOP and them, and it's like this hip hop people, because they're classic songs.
Yeah. You're reminding me of when I lived in Miami and working on the beach, and sometimes these cats would come through and you wouldn't know who they were. They were up and coming. You didn't know that they were going to become huge. They were going to become Slip and Slide and Pitbull and, you know, and Twista. And you didn't know that they were going to become who they became. And, you know, you got to give everybody a chance. And it sounds like you collaborate with other people. You work well with others. And that's a good thing, man. You take care of each other. You live there. I heard sirens going by. There's, you know, there's trouble out there. But, you know, you got to live. You live in a city full of people that are just trying to make it, trying to thrive and survive. And it sounds like you're doing it, man. You're willing to work with others. So if somebody wants to collaborate with you, how do they get a hold of you? Cas Weinbren?
studio in downtown on 277. I have a partnership with Producer Plug, so we have a studio down on 277 Canal Street, clothing store and record store, and studio upstairs. So we've done so I mean I have collaboration with him, so I mean so that's one thing. Getting more into more studios, getting more opportunities to, I mean, and also if you send me stuff virtually, I can send stuff back and we can figure out from there. Some guys who want to, be able to build a relationship on, some guys want to give you some money, whatever, it's, you have to figure out what the cost for everything is. I'm a project manager. When a couple of years ago, and it's cool, but I've won awards. I got more streaming success for my own intellectual property, myself for Cas Weinbren, and there's more detail that I'm taking Muso.ai stream and turning that into more valuation for the NFT valuation, the digital currency valuation, the total digital currency. So the NFT really represents it's the value of the artist. So artists, soul people who have the right reasons get more valuations. So it's
you're teaching me about non-fungible tokens now, NFTs as well. Now, when you
non-fungible tokens go on the art is itself, not the career artist, the artist who does this for the right reason. So, and with that being said, that's why I'm getting more into spirituality and really trying to find more visuals for different spirituality projects I have with this, and trying to see what happens. So there's a couple different projects I'm looking into and getting more funding, trying to get more funding and get more into LA for opportunities for screenwriters. Because if New York's not going to do it, I need to make sure. Because if you write a screenplay, you can write it. If you write a song, you write a screenplay. So I have a screenplay musical kind of thing that I'm trying to get one, maybe the streaming people. So I'm open to opportunities as well. Because I work with so many people. So I'm you know what? Why don't you guys work with you guys? Keep the thing simple. Doesn't matter where you guys are. You can do it virtually.
Well, everything you're talking about talks about a well-balanced person, is that you take all these little flavors of life and you mix them all up and it becomes a Cas Weinbren.
Because that's my approach. It doesn't necessarily, but that's my music. So it combines a lot of world pop things together, something different, hip hop, and I think it's really,
it sounds like you had a musical family anyway that was probably influencing you, putting on the records, different kinds of records for you when you're growing up, a young pup. What's your mom and dad playing in the house that's influencing you at the start? What records are they playing?
Well, I fell in love with basically. It was for me. It was the Eminem records, and then it really, really changed my life. Just the creativity and the effect of the keyboards, and those keyboards are so beautiful. The keyboard music of Eminem and Dr. Dre's really inspired my life. When I was 10 years old, I heard that. Now everybody was couldn't stop listening to this. It was the biggest record that would ever came out. It was and then the NSYNC stuff as well. So I grew up at the greatest time. I'm very young. Grew up in the 80s. So it's I'm only in my 30s. So it's also I'm finding early success that most people will never find. So
yeah, you just made me think about the rock of my time, 70s and 80s, was guitar driven. But then if you think about Eminem, it's keyboard driven. He starts with that dun 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 dun.
Thousands, the 90s, the early 2000s, late 90s and the early 2000s, all production driven. So that music has already affected. That's the reason why I make the music that I'm still considerate of George Gershwin. Because Gershwin's music, although it's still older, has the most profound music. Because it's still it's all where it comes from. Jazz is, even though that jazz there's any direction, it all comes from the keyboards. And I think if you more silently learn, I think it's better for you. And you shouldn't be restricted to what society tells you, what boxes, because everything comes together in the end of the day. And you want to be part of society and bring everything together.
Yeah. Now, you're a strictly independent artist, or do you have people, are you under a record contract, or do you have people that represent you? Who are you beholding to? Only to yourself?
I have independent partners with a lot of people, independent. Some people want to put, more projects together. Some people want to do things, you know, independently. I mean, I just keep on moving myself. There's a million different opportunities. So I stay independent myself, and, you know, and I get opportunities with different companies for different specific songs, not, you know, specific deals, but I mean, hopefully more to come, but I'm just starting. So it's like, you know, I'm getting some deals that are with major and they put like a movie behind, and then some deals are like, you know, people trying to push myself, my own records, and then some of these artists like have like interest for other people, and sometimes they're used for some sync deals, like, you know, sometimes, but like, you know, with different publishing deals or partnership deals or whatever deals. But again, it's like I also have the other records, so it's like.
So when you go to music school, do they teach you about the business? Do they teach you how to manage your money, or you on your own?
Does though, like, you have to think about yourself as a business though, you know. I mean, if you want to make profit, like, I mean, if you want to get deals with McDonald's, Nike, and Disney, for example, and Fox and NBC and Oxygen, and like, and, you know, and different things that I'm still growing that brand recognition for, like trying to get more of that, man, you know, like also for construction, man, and just trying to get more deals and finding more deals for life, you know. So
well, I talked to some artists that
realistic. Being realistic about what you can afford to do this, and seeing where you really need money, and finding ways of really supplying the demand. Can you really supply the demand, and what do you do? I try and supply the demand of the music industry. Like, I try and challenge myself to make every single kind of style of music with all these that I could send you in 2 seconds. Music ops, you know, music X-ray, music, you know, texting, no, not good, but music, we are video. Different things, song placement pros. I mean, different people want to take, you know, I mean, it's great to get in touch with people like you yourself here as well. I mean, there's many different options. I'm pushing my stuff independently as well.
Well, I talked to artists that were big in the 80s and 90s, and they talk about their mailbox money. You know, they're still getting residuals from stuff that they did back then. And do people still get mailbox money? Can you still?
I wouldn't know, but I mean, it goes to whatever, online. I mean, it depends on our opportunity. I mean, I've been doing musical stuff recently. I can find different gigs, man. Like, I've been working on a couple of legit new musicals that hopefully could be coming out. But I mean, hopefully I'll be part of. Like, it's a lot of potential, but I mean, you know. So I mean, I have one coming out in June. So that's good. So it's with zombies. I mean, I can't really talk about it, but
well,
it's a great project. So,
are you saying that playing live is where it's at? Are you're having recordings out there?
I mean, musicians are so great. I love playing live, and it's like this jam band thing that I'm doing is a great opportunity as well. I mean, I'm trying to play more of my songs, you know, there as well, and just any opportunity to play is great as well. So I mean, I do whatever, like, being requested. If some random artist wants me to play with her, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I play with. When I work, I was supposed to play tonight, but but I mean, you know, figuring out things. Sometimes I play at the Shrine. Sometimes I play with Organic Jam Sesh, which is a new booking party in New York. So I'm getting gigs. It's great. Sometimes playing online. And I've done well online before COVID, so during COVID. So.
Well, that is fantastic. I have my cousin Roxanne Smith. She lived in Miami, you know, when we were growing up, but then she moved to New York City to get on Broadway to be a producer in Broadway, and she sent a picture with Jeff Goldblum that she was working with on Broadway, and I went, oh, that is fantastic. You go to New York City to make your dreams come true. People go to Nashville and Vegas and California, but New York City, you know, there's only a few meccas in the world to do the things you want to do, and I think you found the spot where you could do anything you want to do.
Broadway, hip hop, jazz. It's the makeup of all three of them. Like Gershwin wrote, you know, there's Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, and Puff Daddy, and there's Cannonball Adderley and Barry Harris, rest in peace, and like jazz, bebop, and Bud Powell, like Broadway. And there's like Broadway, all those places, everybody that's what creates the culture. And there needs to be more dialogue. There has to be a Broadway show that is a showcase for all the independent artists. And that's the show that I want to be part of.
I think that's the one you're going to.
All these worlds, there's a problem. And if I need to break into Broadway to solve the problem, then I still win. Because I've done Broadway, hip hop, jazz, and then there should be a Broadway showcase for independent artists. And every single independent artist in New York should go there like the Harlem used to, but they kind of got rid of it, and that's what I'm trying to host. My show representing New York, and doing it for independent artists, like, you know, for all artists. You know, it doesn't matter, especially from New York, though.
Well, I believe that's going to be the cat.
Broadway get more involved when things start opening up, because that's what I really think the people will really enjoy that. I think if there was specific at like the New Victory or somewhere. So there's a lot of opportunity in New York. Every single time, like I grew up here, so I'm trying to, and I took advantage of that in high school, you know. But I mean, I kind of went into the hip hop world after college, so it's like, and I'm trying to get more as an independent artist, and I'm getting more deals, like, but now it's streaming. So there's hope. That's where I'm trying to go, and I'm almost there. I have a new Broadway coming out. I have a placement on a Broadway show coming out with Disney. That's what I really, but it's a movie, so it's Zombies 3, but I can't. It's coming out, so it's hopefully it does well, and then I'm trying to release more. But I have others, so I, you know, a lot of opportunities.
I'm so excited for you. You're making moves. You're not limiting yourself to one thing. You'll play live. You'll play recordings. You'll remix somebody else's material. You'll collaborate with other people. You'll go solo. There's no stopping you, Cas Weinbren, if you are willing to do the work. And it seems like you're willing to do the work. You played all these scales from different genres. You played all these different types of music. You have no limits, and I'm glad to know you, Cas Weinbren. This is fantastic. Well, tell people again about the studio down on Canal Street, and also how to get a hold of you as we wind this thing down, and give shout outs to people that have helped you along the way.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm just, you know, trying to inspire people, you know, to pursue dreams. I have one song to play out on the way out. Speaking of more Broadway pop, actually, yeah. This is one of mine. Where's me to see? Where's me to see? Where's me to see? Where's me to see? Standing on the corner, tragedy and Vine, a lonely worn-out morning, stopping for a sign. My dog just died. I haven't cried till now. I spent the last GW I could borrow, trying to get to Gotham by tomorrow. Where's me to she's in on the drive? Where's me to go very alive? And there's only one guy I know with a car. Where's me to see? Where's me to see? He know what to say. He be strumming on his guitar, living for today. Where's me to see? He know what to do. He be passing me a cigar, putting me to do. There's no one here knows where he might be staying. Maybe he left town, is what they're all saying. Where's me to see? Where's me to see? You got me a bad corker, I can't figure light. And my girl's back in New York. Her brother says I'm shy. We're getting hitched. Yeah, love's a bitch and how. She says we'll do it one of these Decembers, and I'm the dad as far as she remembers. Where's me? She's in on the drive. I'm barely alive, and there's only one guy I know. Where's me to his car? Well, yeah, man, I've done it all, man. Like, I mean, that. So it's like, I love Broadway.
I feel like I was just on the Cas Weinbren show. It was scored, written, directed, and produced by Cas Weinbren. I liked it. Yeah. I liked it a lot. Now, I imagine you're going to be writing that musical that is dedicated to all the other musicians. You know, the how it is in New York. You know, the trials and tribulations. You're going to be that guy, whether you write it on your own.
It's also beauty of like I have records of Jadakiss as well. You know, so it's like this is modern musical.
No, I get it, but we're going to get dinged. We're going to get dinged playing somebody else's music. Come on now.
You know, it's like I want to see the beauty of Broadway hip hop more. And if I have to do the bridge between Broadway hip hop and jazz, because my love for all three of them, they all go together with hip hop. It's like I want to see Broadway shows like I love the showcases of New York. But the one thing I love the talent of the jazz world. I love Smalls and Fat Cat, but I mean I like Canal Street because that's where the studio is at. But I like going to show jams where more people from different genres can collaborate as well and collaborate, do different things. Maybe break a song. Maybe I cover a song with you. You know, and I like doing jams as well. Like I love playing piano. Like I'm a keyboardist first.
Well, so it looks like
you know, check me out whenever I post. I'm posting gigs, man, and jams with me. Like, get my number, you know, you just figure it out. Like, I mean, I'm down to work with anybody as well. Like,
well, to me, the through line to all those musical genres is going to be Weinbren, Cas Weinbren.
It's me.
Yeah, it's you.
I mean, I love all three of them, and actually, the value of music is spiritual. So, I mean, that's the whole entire fight. So, if I have to use my success not only to fight for the true valuation of music, spiritual, and inspire people, because having 1 billion streams is crazy. And that's one of my new valuations as for Fred. I'm trying to get for transparency for it, which is an incredible honor to have, right?
You've
inspired me. Because I was complaining, I was like, well, my IP just increased for myself. I want to create jobs out of the success. There should be.
Fantastic, man.
Imagine if we're $1 per stream.
Say it again.
More. Imagine if we're getting more than $1 per stream.
That would be fantastic because I think that there was a legendary, what was it, Peter Frampton? He said he had 50 million streams and made like $1,000. What was that?
Yep.
You know, it's just not fair.
Well, I mean, Peter Frampton. Peter Frampton is you know, I mean, because the system is broken. It's not necessarily their fault. It's just a program because Muso.ai goes back to Muso.ai. What Muso.ai? But I tell you, like, yo, I mean. Because the thing about art is, like, you have to think about it yourself as an artist. So, I mean, I'm so inspired by everybody that I love music more than anything. And I had, you know, and I got lucky that I was able to, like, you know, in the game. So it's like, I mean, I've been in the game for a long time and I just, you know, and it's finding success from these records. I'm just trying to still continue to cash out independently. But even though they are with like major record labels, like actually Bronson was signed to Atlantic at one point, you know, Joey was signed to City Cinematic and Red and had like plays major festivals, and J. Cole is signed to Trocki. Statik is already doing his own thing. And look, and I'm a big fan of like the music I've done with him, and I don't want to feel like they're a pitch, you know, like, but it's like I have done a major career. Dr. Dre started with Scott Storch, started with Dr. Dre, I started with Statik. Even though I'm a little different than Scott Storch, but very similar in a sense.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at you, Cas Weinbren. You're on this level. I want you to get to the next level, and that's where you want to go, is to the next level. Where can you take your music, you know, to reach more ears? 40 million. That's a lot of ears, and you still can get further. You know, does that translate to a career where you can, you know, make a living out of it? And that's what I want.
But just at the same time, Gershwin created jobs with his music. That's the beauty of what I want to do. And that's really what that's the beauty of Gershwin's music, is that he created jobs out of his music. And just to being able to create jobs with the music is the real goal to really create more opportunity out of the success. Because if they're giving me the success, why? Because God blessed me. So if God blessed me for a reason, why should I be by disrespectful and be disrespectful? Like, the world is too disrespectful. People don't treat people with respect. I get it. Competition does breed. New York is people come here, New York, and everybody's fighting each other. But you have to think about it. Everybody's the same as an artist. Yeah. So it's like, people come to New York, they expect, but it depends. Brooklyn's a little more cooler than Manhattan. Like, they show more better energy. It's also about the energy that people show, so.
Yeah, all I see is what's in the movies, man. You would know better than I, but I talk to people.
The best thing, you go from uptown, you go from like Harlem down to Chinatown.
And it's all New York. It's all a blend of different people, and you're putting it all in that keyboard.
The whole entire world that creates it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as as multicultural in our we're in Arkansas. Are you?
Oh, I'm in Central Arkansas, just north of Little Rock. The biggest
Okay.
the biggest city is Little Rock, and there's lots of things to do there. But it's still country. It's still small town. It's a whole lot.
The culture is southern, has southern hospitality, or is it more, or are people like treat people with more like difference?
No, it had its time where there was a lot of segregation, and there's a lot of white flight where they left the main cities to get away from other types of people. But I have my microcosm. I do my karaoke show at the Rab in Conway, and it's all types of people in there. It's a little microcosm.
Famous rapper right now signed to Eminem. You should do a show with Conway. He probably already has.
What's his name?
No, he's a really cool rapper named Conway.
Oh, Conway. Fantastic, man. I mean, it all comes around. It's all circular. Eventually every name's going to get taken. Every idea is going to get made.
There's Caswell County.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully get more name recognition,
Well, all right, Mr. Cas Weinbren. I've had a pleasure talking to you. I don't want this to be the last time that we chat, but I do want you to give some last words for the people and, give shout outs to people if you want, and give an idea, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or words to live by. Cas Weinbren, give some last words for the people.
Keys Dan, I want to shout you out for giving me a call, man. I want to shout out everybody for listening to me, and hopefully inspire you the way that I think about music, like in business, probably differently and more creatively. But I mean, I try and do it for the love first. I love combining different cultures together, and I think more people should think the same way and think of your music as a service. Like, again, the spirituality, that's the real reason to make it. And it's like, I have records coming out as a producer, but I also want to inspire others to think differently and inspire more people and, to utilize their talent for the better. So they don't have to feel like the music or quitting music is the end road and not focusing on it, and a lot of people quit their dream. And I think the people who are successful at it should inspire people, and inspire people independently. But, you're realistically, you see it, and now with new tools, we never had these tools at our fingertips either. Streaming, Muso.ai, it's really inspiring. So, I mean, getting more value with NFT, digital cryptocurrency, stream valuation. What is this? If you ask people, the opposite of Snapster is up these 5 things, So, if you have that attitude, you'll always challenge yourself to learn music. And if you like a musician, support them, if you can.
Cas Weinbren, you're a very thoughtful person. You're not only working for yourself, but you're working for others as well, looking out for other people. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. Thanks again for calling. Yeah, for the time. It was fun, man. Cas Keyboard-Producer. Add me on Instagram, Cas Keyboard-Producer. Add me on a website, Cas Keyboard-Producer. So, I'm Cas Keyboard-Producer, and that's what I go by. So, cooler. And these glasses were given to me by Ceelo, so shouts to him. I say I'm Sam Trocki, so shouts to record with them. Definitely shouts to Statik Selektah for helping me in the early. But shouts to my boy Charlie Booker who connected. Different people who helped me in the early on. But I just keep on doing it, So whoever wants to give me a call, I'm down to play. So hopefully get more times to play again. So
thank you, man.
And so hate, and I support all artists. I don't care if you're independent or major. I actually like artists before they discover, and it's because when they make big, you're able to have more opportunities. You get more money when somebody gets a bigger stream. So realistically, people should collaborate more. That's the way you really should think about yourself as both an artist and a producer. If you're a great rapper, think about producing other rappers as well as thinking about label and if anybody's interested in resources that I use to inspire myself for sync licensing and branding our partnerships, Songwriter is a great one. Shouts to Songwriter, all these different apps. And seeing who wants to be transparent in the world, who wants to really work a record, who wants to connect a record for more opportunities. But remember, you make music for yourself. So the more you do for yourself, the better. Then you'll be able to be rewarded with if your intentions are pure.
Well, there you have it, party people. Cas Weinbren. That's a cool dude, I tell you. Works well with others and works okay by himself as well. So I encourage you, if you need some collaboration, if you need some help, if you need some help getting your song or your idea to that next level, give Cas Weinbren a call. Yeah, he wants to do some Broadway. He wants some hip hop, pop, classical, jazz. It's all in there. He's classically trained. He's been to school. He knows the theory behind all the music. He knows how to put those 12 notes together in interesting ways. So I encourage you, give Cas Weinbren a call. That was fantastic. I'm very happy to have you on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Cas, thanks so much for being here. Now, if you, turning my attention to you, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.